Good afternoon and welcome to your favorite weekly current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. It promises to be another exciting episode. My name is Egosa Agbolao. Joining me in the studio this afternoon, I have a legal practitioner, Barrister Joshua Agbolagba. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you.
I also have with us a proprietor of a school, an educationist, and of course a clergyman, Reverend Benson Ogirake. Nice to have you with us today.
Good afternoon, my beloved.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, every week we bring you topical issues. We dissect topical issues, and I must tell you that the topic of interest on 60 Minutes Nigeria today has to do with the economic policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And of course, the opening of the land borders with neighboring countries, especially Niger, that was announced recently. So many Nigerians have clamored for the reopening of the land borders, and they seem to be sharing news without announcement by the presidential aide to the president regarding the opening of the land borders. The air flights will now be allowed, and it is believed that Nigeria stand a lot to benefit from this reopening of the land borders. Though we have been told it is not just about President Bola Tinubu, it is the decision of ECOWAS heads of state, and that was in February. They agreed that the sanctions should be lifted against Niger, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali. But it was effected just recently by the administration of Bola Tinubu. Okay, I'm going to start with Reverend Benson Ogirake. Now, before now, Nigerians have complained about hike in prices of food items. And some Nigerians attributed this hike to the refusal of the president to open the land borders. Because opening of the land borders would allow for exchange of goods and services, will allow for free flow of business activities, economic activities. So, what's your take on this decision?
Actually, first of all, I want to say thank you for the privilege.
Okay.
And by the grace of God, I remember one of our program.
Yes.
This same 60 Minutes Nigeria.
Yes.
So we're discussing about it. I was one of those who also suggested then that it is better that the land borders should be opened.
Okay.
Now that it has started, it's a welcome development. But there is something I'm going to say here.
Okay.
The reason I want to bring it from this perspective is because our leaders, most of them have good intentions. But at the same time, you discover that there are some others that may want to also take it as an opportunity for evil, which means this administration have to make sure that a strict monitoring is there.
Okay.
So that in the process of saying, oh, because of the hike of commodities, that we want to lower it down, we want to give opportunity for others to be able to have at least access to food stuff and all those ones, and the land borders are being opened, then it should not become an avenue through which a lot of evil are being perpetrated. So I want to first of all say it's a welcome development, and I want to say that as far as the government is concerned, they should make sure that it did not just end by opening it, but they should guide it in such a way that both countries can actually benefit it. It should not be an avenue for thieves, armed robbers to begin to come into the country, for weapons begin to come into the country to enter into the wrong hands. Okay. No. But let the purpose be defined. Let the aim be pursued. Let the vision, the major purpose why the land borders are being opened, should be monitored, then should be, they should make sure that they follow it up in such a way that we benefit from it and there is peace.
Okay, thank you. We'll just allow the opening remark of Barrister Joshua Bulagwa before we take a break to allow us introduce our third guest.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. You know, like what Reverend has said, you know, the opening of the land border is a welcome development because we could see that just within, I think something that was meant to like serve as a deterrent to Niger Republic due to the, you know, political quagmire that happened and the coup d'etat, you know, but it now ended up, you know, haunting Nigeria in the back because at the end of the day, we are the ones that now suffer the brunt because, you know, as we'll keep on saying, Nigeria has to diversify their economy and then be a sustainable nation that provides what it, you know, uses, what it utilizes. So you see that just the fact that the border was closed, and besides, it was both the land and the air border was closed.
Yes.
And so just because the borders were closed, you see that we started facing problems with regards to food scarcity and other materials that we got from those countries. So you see that we needed those things initially. But it's good now that the borders have been open, but like what Reverend said again, you know, just according his thoughts, that there should be border patrol.
Okay. And
these things should be done in the adequate manner so that funny elements would not find their way into the country through the opening of the border, the reopening of the border. The opening of the border was meant, you know, to serve as a good thing so that goods and services can come in, not negative things. So the president should try to ensure that the border patrol is properly manned, and then all things are done with regards to the military, they are done properly so that the military can also checkmate that place and see that only those who are, you know, licensed to come into the country actually come into the country.
Okay. Before we take a break, just to inform you that Nigeria seems to have had the problem of porous borders even before the opening of the border between Nigeria and Niger. It's been said that we have so many entry points into the country, and the customs, immigration, they've had problems actually manning all these entries. But then such activities are regarded as illegal, smuggling and all of that. But the official routes that allows for exchange of goods and services. We'll just take a brief break now, and when we come back, we'll be introducing our third guest. It's always a delight to have you on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. What a joy to know that you are there enjoying your 60 minutes with us on the program or sharing part of your 60 minutes with us. Just joining us is a lecturer, a statistician, and of course, he's a clergyman, Reverend Dr. Osagie Maswell. Nice to have you. I need to do the full introduction today. Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. You know, I like his style because it brings you statistics of whatever he's talking about. And I know that this is of interest to him because we're looking at the economic policies of President Tinubu, especially as it has to do with the reopening of the land border with Niger. Is it going to improve economic activities in Nigeria? My guests have talked about it. That is a good development, but there must be adequate patrol of the Nigeria-Niger border to avoid the influx of small arms, to avoid smuggling and other illegal activities. Dr. Maswell, what's your opening remarks to this?
Well, thank you. Actually, when you follow the normal system of trade, it goes beyond boundaries. And COVID-19 taught us one thing, that no country has it all. Even it got to a stage where America has to rely on another country for a supply of certain equipment required to curb the COVID stuff. And we heard recently, even though federal government tried to down to it, when Ukraine, that has been fighting war for some almost more than a year now, is now the one giving us grace. We that have hands, legs, no war, we can't even do anything. But however, I haven't said that. That's on the lighter side. But I haven't said that. The end product of it is that trade goes beyond boundaries, and when you reopen border like that, it gives room for more viability in terms of trade output and input as well. But however, if we have to look at it from a sincere perspective, I'm a realistic person.
Yes.
I know so many persons believe in idea, but I belong to the school thought of Aristotle, who is so realistic in nature, believing that everything is not every idea that comes to reality. But let's look at the realistic nature of things. Can you actually, apart from that 1 week, 2 weeks, that they said the border was closed, was it really closed?
That's a rhetoric question.
Thank you. So I stopped there for now.
Okay, so that's the only remarks of Dr. Maswa. Like I told you, is a topic that encompasses a lot. The renewed hope agenda of this administration is actually hinged on the rule of law. That's where our legal practitioner will come in. It's also renewed hope to promote job employment, fight hunger, poverty, and corruption. So this renewed hope agenda is what President Tinubu used in his campaigns, and of course is in his office. Now his policies are tailored around this, but are they working? Some person said there was need to reopen the border because let's just take a condiment, something that is used daily by Nigerians, just onions. A basket of onions at a time was about 5,000 naira, and Nigerians were stunned with that kind of price. But the prices have started coming down. These are some of the benefits, because we understand Niger, that onions comes, they normally import onions from Niger. So there are other things that Nigeria benefit from neighboring countries. When you close the border and there's no legal activities, it gives room to illegal activities. That's what Dr. Manso is talking about, the porous borders. Okay, let's continue with the discussion. Reverend Ogeraki, yes. Now looking at the renewed hope agenda, this administration, one of its policies were geared towards the fight against hunger, job creation, unemployment to be tackled, and corruption. Are you satisfied with the way the administration is tackling these inimical activities?
Well, I want to say this, sir. One of the aspects that I don't actually like or love, or the aspect that I'm not too comfortable with, especially in the life of our leaders, is insincerity.
Okay.
The truth is this: Nigerians, at least, let me not say everybody, but at least 60% of Nigerians have already lost total trust in our leaders. So whenever they say anything or taking a step, so until the reality is being seen, so you don't really know if what they're trying to do is with a sincere heart or not. Just like what my brother was saying just now, Dr. Maxwell. He made a statement. We say yes, that the border was closed. He asked a question. Was it really closed?
Yes.
And that is a kind of a strong statement that should let you know the sincerity or the level of sincerity of our leaders.
Officially, the borders were closed.
Officially, it was closed, but we know that.
Or the realistic nature wasn't closed.
So what I want to say is this. I want to tell Nigerians, whether the sincerity is there or not, let's hope. Number one, as far as the land border has been reopened, we are already seeing that at least the issue of bringing in commodities when it was not officially opened. You know that some things we have to exchange hands to allow commodities to come in, and that in another way we increase the price of the commodity. But now that the land border has been reopened, at least it will also help to give more advantage and to lower down the price of the commodities. So I want to say that as far as we are taking this step, it's a step that needs to be further increased in every aspect, and Nigerians should also take it as an opportunity to also make sure that some of our own commodities too, some of our produce that we have not had the opportunity of also exporting, we should also start exporting them, so that will also give more opportunity to Nigerians to have to be employed, to have more jobs, and at the same time to also see that whatever labor they are laboring here, it should not just end within the country, but it should also be extended to other countries, which can actually open up more opportunities to them and to make more money.
Okay. Okay. Barrister Agbolagba, now looking at the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu vis-a-vis his economic policies, do you think this administration is getting it right? Economic policies, are Nigerians faring better than the previous administration? You know, what's your input on this?
Yes, with regards to the economic policies, there's one thing we talk about. There's the aspect of formulating policies, and then the aspect of implementation. And with Nigeria as a country, we have always been bedeviled with the lack of proper implementation of policies. I think, and that's our main bane. We know how to formulate policies, but when it comes to implementing those policies, that's where we get it wrong sometimes. Like for example, the aspect of forex, and then those kind of things. I said, okay, don't trade with forex again, and don't do this, don't do that. There are other multinationals that have now left the countries due to the fact that they cannot repatriate their funds. The money they have invested, they cannot repatriate it in those currencies in which the currency in which they invested in. So, and you know that Nigeria, the naira is not a currency that's universally accepted with regards to trade. So these are some of the issues. So some of the policies are there. They are meant to better the lives of the populace, but we should also look at those who are also investing into the country. Just like what Reverend said, you have closed the border. Those that are bringing in things, they can no longer bring in things, and then things are now hard for the populace. So in as much as we're trying as much as possible to do things that will make for the betterment of the country as a whole, we should not neglect the needs of the populace, that is the human beings in the country. Because it's one thing to have a good face outside and say your country is protected, the borders are safe, but then the humans inside the country are perishing due to lack of opportunities. So we have now said that the policies are good, but they should be implemented in such a way that to be humane. And so when these policies are implemented in the humane nature, then the humans who the policies are made to cater for will really get the benefit of those policies. So like what the Adri Galili, the spokesperson of the president, talked about, that okay, now they have opened the border, they have done so many things with regards to the sanctions that were meted out by ECOWAS on the countries that had the coup. But now you can see that in the long run, Nigeria needs the things from this country. So in as much as we're trying to play the big brother with regards to ECOWAS, we should also do things circumspectly so that we ourselves will not bear the brunt of policies that we are taking against people. Because for crying out loud, those who were sanctioned kept on living their lives and doing everything. We who put the sanctions on them were the ones bearing the brunt of everything. Things were so expensive during that period in which the border were closed. So we should also look into this and make sure that the policies, is a give and take. So in as much as we're trying to flog them with one hand, we should also bring them closer to another hand so that we'll have a good rapport. Besides, we're all Africans.
Okay. Dr. Maxwell, now the renewed hope agenda, fight against hunger, fight against unemployment, fight against corruption. The policies of the president tailored along this renewed hope agenda. Also to boost business, funds to small scale and large businesses. But looking at these policies, are they in tandem with current realities?
Let me stand on the premise
Okay.
of the last word you use, if it's in line with the masses and
Okay.
everything. If any policy given that the end product is to hunt the populace, is not a good policy. We are not dealing with spiritual matters that you will say,
Yeah, that you
that's
don't
how
see.
God said it. Even though you don't like it, that's how God said it. On a long run, definitely you will see the reality, which is factual.
Yes.
We are dealing with practicality, people. Now, if a government who says that the policy of the Naira redesign was anti-people, that people couldn't access their money. I listened to the Ajuri
Broadcast.
Ingelele broadcast
Yes.
with Shudi, and a lot of things were asked. And he tried to provide solution to some, even though not holistic to me in nature. But however, when you look at the tendency of this government towards the economic blueprint of ensuring that the masses become much more a focal point in their hope agenda, you question yourself that few months ago, you just took over power, and you said few months ago, someone policy almost killed the entire Nigeria. I want to believe that when you compare this time as at when, during the electioneering campaign of the Naira redesign, if you do a holistic, a comparative analysis, you can actually not tell which is better. Probably we could even say that we're able to transfer and still buy something on a more cheaper note compared to. And also, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Where the president got it wrong, when you raise a policy and you look at that policy for 2, 3, 4 months, and it seems not to be yielding result, for crying out loud, listen to the people. It's the people, it's not you. However, in as much as I want to agree that everybody unanimously agree that subsidy is becoming an issue just based on the way they presented it to us. We weren't there, we are not there. And they presented it in such a way that only a few persons were the one eating the money. And as a result, the government is paying only those few persons.
Yes.
And that by the time they remove it from only those few persons, it will get to all of us. Now, it became dawn on me that it was not just only those few persons that were eating that money. All of us were actually eating the money. Because if government says it's only a few persons that were paying money and we were buying fuel, 250, and now you now remove the money from those few persons, automatically I'm now buying fuel, 600. It means that it was not only the people that were eating the money, all of us were eating it
Yeah,
together.
we're all benefiting.
Are you getting the
Okay,
logical?
that's for the subsidy now.
Yes. Are you
Okay.
getting the logical
Yes,
coronation?
I'm getting it.
The logical coronation.
Yes.
So invariably, you were not servicing few persons. You were actually servicing Nigeria. Now, okay, you have told me that you've gathered trillions and trillions and trillions of naira for this period. Egosa, can we actually see then that this policy of gathering and gathering has actually translated to any meaningful thing in terms of cushioning the effect of what we face in Nigeria today? Tell me, I went to market, and
Yes.
I've not been to market for a very long time.
Okay.
Somewhere along the line, my wife was very strong, and I needed to go to market. She gave me a list. Egosa, I priced a rubber of beans before we entered the market.
Yes.
How much? The boy told me 2.9. I said, okay. I said, okay, I'm coming. I went inside the market. We all did everything because I went with someone who was
Yes.
actually helping me
Yes.
while I was making the payment. When I came back, let's come and buy the final one, which is the... I parked close to the guy. Immediately I got there, I said, okay, measure it. He said, guy, it's 32. I don't look at the person we went
Within
I like
a space of
I was
few minutes.
the one who was here.
Yes.
Less than a few minutes. We
Yes.
went to market, you said 2.9. It's all gonna indoor call right now 32. Now the point I'm trying to make is
Yes.
the presidency, when you are in a leadership position, your body language and your utterances speaks volume. And average Nigeria is corrupt. In fact, will I say an average Nigerian? 99% of Nigerians are corrupt. Only 1% is good. That 99% are just looking for, they are looking for the person that will just aid them, that will just trigger them. And there is a way the president would have removed the subsidy without uttering it publicly. And systematically, you just see, you will not see the exponential. I'm not talking about geometric.
Yes.
You will not see the exponential increase that you see now. That what you bought like 2 months ago is not like ×4. I do not call that a good policy. I do not call that a policy that you will say rest well on the people.
Yes.
Because if you and I right now cannot eat well and we cannot live well,
Yeah.
how then you call that a
Okay, Dr. Master, we're going to allow you continue,
Okay.
but that will be after this break. Okay, nice to have you back on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. Before the break, Dr. Maxwell actually said the policy which has to do with the subsidy removal seemed to be the bane of the problems, and that if a policy has been introduced, the government must review such policies in order to ascertain if it's having positive effect on the people or otherwise. Dr. Master, I want to quickly conclude that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I was trying to dwell so much or kind of portray is the fact that we run a mono economy.
Okay.
Whether you like it or not, we run a mono economy. And by the time the fuel triggers, every other thing triggers. So aside the government being the referee in this game,
Yes.
but we have the players who can do and undo by the time the referee chooses to just give a deaf ear or a kind of not look into the scene. They do and overdo. And that's who we are as Nigerians. The government has given an average Nigerian an opportunity to trade in the manner that they are naturally known for. And as a result, what you see today is actually 10% of government and 90% of Nigerians inflating things in the manner in which they want to do. Another biggest problem we have, which the government lack the functionality to control, is all this union thing. Part of the problem we are facing in all this hike in prices and everything, before the introduction of the fuel subsidy removal, we were already crying that the way association are now running things market-wise and everything is affecting the nation. That government should come and, because I read, sorry to quickly trip in this, I read one Benue man that said, I bought a trailer load of yam at the rate of 200 naira. And then I said, let me bring it to Benin to come and sell. That when he got here, they told him he cannot sell, except he has to sell it to them, the association people. That he will not sell it to them at the rate of 300 naira. That when he calculated, he was meant to sell the yam around that 400. That they say he should sell it to them at 300. But when in that price, from the one they are selling, is about 800, I mean 900 as at that time. That is Nigeria for you. I think government moving forward, when they are releasing policy or when they are trying to make known, they should be careful of Nigeria. Introduce that thing in a more systematic way that will not trigger this effect that we are now seeing that is more negative form, which is not okay for anybody at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Reverend Ogirake. Yes, now, don't you think it's important, though you mentioned it earlier, this free trade agreement allows for countries within Africa, within ECOWAS, to trade, exchange of goods and services. Yeah. Now, if Nigeria is the giant of Africa, and they're actually carrying out business activity and trading with other African countries without restriction, don't you think Nigeria will be better for it?
Yes, they will. You know, Dr. Maso just made a statement.
Okay.
When he was talking about 10% government, 90%
Okay.
the people,
Yes.
in terms of increase of commodities. One of the major problems that we have as a nation, before I say this, sir, permit me to quickly say this.
Okay.
The truth is that Nigerians are good. They are hard-working people.
Okay.
Nigerians are people who don't rest on the ability of the government. That is why you discover that by now, this nation would have been in, I'm trying to watch what I should use,
Yes.
since we're
On air, yes.
on air. But the summary of it is that Nigerians are good. They are hardworking. Why did I say so? In a country, not forgetting your question, that if the free flow is there, will it not be better for this nation? Yes, it will be better for this nation. But what I want to say is this, is that the effort that the government is making to actually strengthen the effort of the Nigerians is not enough. They should make sure that at least funds are released for those who are making effort to succeed, like farmers, like others who have one or two things that they are doing. But you know that the system we are operating here, when we say money is being released, maybe to farmers, for instance, before it gets to those who are actually doing the farm work, it has passed through so many processes.
That's the Nigeria. That's the Nigeria.
So many channels.
So many channels that the few people that the money will actually get to, you discover that it's the crumbs that will get to them. And as far as they take the camera there, record them and say, shout and say, government is good, that you have benefited from so. Then once they record it and they blow it on air, you will think that, oh, this is a laudable effort. But you find out money is released. Then you'll be hearing in the news, reading in the paper that so much money has been released. Maybe sometimes in millions, in trillions. And you'll be wondering, how come that the farmers are still suffering? So what I want to say is that at this time, when the borders are reopened, one of the best way and one of the ways that we will have the advantage of it is to make sure that Nigerians that are into business, like fishery, like poultry, like other aspects, let the money get to the people. Let them increase their production.
Okay.
So that you discover that whenever they are exporting their goods, Nigerians will also suffer it. You understand? For instance, as we are here now, if we have more than enough, maybe we want to take water, and we have 2 packets, for instance. If we share, it can get to others. Yeah. But if it's just 2, and we are saying, okay, who want to drink first? You discover that one person will not be satisfied, talk less of sharing it with us. So that is the aspect I'm looking at. That as far as the land borders have been reopened, let the government be very proactive and swift to make sure that finance funds are released directly to the people who are out there, so that they should be able to have the ability to increase their goods and services, so that as it's been taken to other nations, that this nation will not suffer it.
Okay. Mr. Joshua, some persons just believe that, you can talk generally on the economic policies, but some persons believe that the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu, which has also to do with entrenching the rule of law, that the rule of law is still not well respected here. And in a country where there's aberration to the rule of law, you cannot have economic development. You cannot have, things cannot move well Do you subscribe to that?
Yeah, with regards to the rule of law being the center point, the focal point
Yes.
of the nation thriving, it's actually true. It is very, very correct, because whereby there is regards for the rule of law, then you see that even the price that we're talking about, like for example, what doctor said about the unionism and then saying
Yes.
you cannot sell for this particular price, you cannot do this. If the rule of law is truly seen to be enforced, then there would be a committee set up to make sure that the price regulation is adhered to, strictly censored. But in a situation whereby there are no machineries to effect those sanctions,
Yes.
then we'll have these kind of things whereby someone can unilaterally increase his or her prices of goods and tell you, because I phoned some minutes ago and then they told me that the price have increased, so I can increase my own. But when they reduce it, you take a longer period to reduce the price. So these are some things that were said. In as much as Reverend said 90% of Nigerians are good, but I still subscribe to the fact that some of us are also the problem of the country, because whereby somebody has told you that these goods are now sold for this particular price, so you can reduce your price, and you say no, if the price I bought was not that price, so I cannot reduce it. But when they say they have increased it, even the one that you bought for the price of last time, you will quickly put increment on top so that you can make your profit. And then after that, we'll blame the government. So you see that it is a Nigerian thing. So we should, like I always say, keep on saying it over and over again, that we should have a reorientation of the mind and have it as a point of obligation as Nigerians, that I should do good to the next person, who is by my side, because he also is a Nigerian, and we are all suffering from the economic hardship in the country, even in the world generally. So by the time you are saying you want to make money off the next person from you, that one is also planning to make money off the next person.
It becomes a cycle.
Yes, so it becomes a cycle. So at the end of the day, the government that we are trying to say, now government costs, they are not even being touched by this. But instead, I'm selling rice. I say, because I'm selling rice, so I will increase the price so I can buy meat. But then I'm selling meat, so I will increase the price so that I can buy fish. But then I'm selling fish, I will increase the price so that I can get water.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we keep on increasing the prices for everybody. And then at the end of the day, it keeps on going around. So the profit I think you are making by increasing your own price, you are not actually making, because the increment you have put, you use it to go and pay for something else.
Yes.
That one used to pay for something. So these are the things I was talking about. But then again, it runs down also to the policy, whereby there are policies that are in place, and there are checks and balances to make sure that these policies are implemented. They are like I always say, Nigeria has a lot of laws. But our problem is the implementation of these laws. There are laws that have said, don't do this. There are laws that have said, you should not increase your price beyond this. You should not do this. You should not do that. You should subscribe to a union. The union should be there to check prices, to do something. But whereby the union is saying, sell to us, we will not sell. So you see that the union that was meant to check prices and make sure that everything is standardized, they are the ones now helping to increase the price. Then there's a problem. So we as Nigerians should try to obey the law and allow the law work for us. Because whereby we ourselves are creating clogs in the wheel of progress of the rule of law working properly, then we'll bear the brunt in the long run. Because at the end of the day, when you have said, they should increase the price for yam, that man now, when he's coming the next time, he would already increase his price exponentially, so that even if the middlemen are not saying, no, we'll go buy for 2,000, he would have brought it in for about 1.5, something that he got maybe for 200 naira. He would now say, since I'm taking it to that place, I'll increase the price. So even if they now tell me, no, we'll go buy for this one, I will still make my profit. So so the cycle keeps on going around.
Sorry, Barrister Joshua.
Yes, sir.
God, there was a statement you made which I love so much. Yes. Don't you think if the government actually rise up to implement the law and monitor it strictly, that most of these things can be controlled?
Very well. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Because I remember when you were making that statement. In fact, I love it. Because it's a part of the problem we have in this nation.
Yeah.
That you discover that a law is enacted, but the ability to monitor it and implement it strictly is not there. Then the next thing I'm also looking at, sir, in a situation whereby a government is enacting a law and you are still the first person to undermine the law, it can't work. Do you understand? Because I'm just looking at it from several aspects. When I used that statement, when I said that Nigerians are hardworking, they are good, I made that statement in quote. For instance, I was discussing with somebody, talking about the same people who flout laws here. I'm not talking of, okay, maybe it includes the government too.
Yes.
But you discover that the same people that flout laws here, they will go to another country where laws are being implemented and monitored. Yet, they will also subject themselves to it. You now be asking yourself, how come whenever you step out of this country, then you behave yourself, you follow the rules and the regulation, but coming to this place, you just flout it and nobody are there to hold you responsible.
It falls back to us.
Yes.
It falls back to Nigerians, not just the government. First of all, who is the government? Reverend Geya is my elder brother.
Yes, I know.
We were so close.
Yes.
So I was surprised when I saw him
Yes.
just now. But who are the government? We are the government. A government is not only Tinubu. Government encompasses everyone.
Yes.
Now, when you look at what played out 2 days ago in Senate, it tells you that till tomorrow the people is still a problem, because we all have the mandate to contribute to government at any given point in time. As masses, it could be for 4 years, where we have to elect the good leaders. Now, the question you need to tell me, I'm not going to mention it. When you look at the people saddled with responsibility in terms of governance, those who we entrust power to for the next 4 years or next 5 years or 50 years thereabout, to do something meaningful for us. I think the challenge we have, we easily just forget yesterday. Nigerians easily just forget yesterday.
Yeah.
These same people, you know them. You know their track records. Before some of them came into power, there are allegations here and there pending on their neck. Even till tomorrow, pending on their necks. Now, these people are the one who is implementing what they already allege of. So, in a case where someone comes out and say, I discovered 3 trillion, they passed through legislative debates, but found itself in what we approve, and it was suspended. Does that, the same people said it has to be suspended, but did we look at the critical part of that particular?
That was your interest. No,
the critical.
But the same man denied that he never said what he said. He
went to pray. The point is this. You know, in a country, if you listen to Bala Mohammed, is it not Bala Mohammed? Bauchi government.
Yeah, he supported him.
Nigga is from Central, Bauchi Central. He supported him. That is a man of integrity. So if the man says, I belong to this Senate, there was never a day where 3 trillion was discussed before you pass a budget. No, okay, fine. They debated it and said, okay, fine. It was tied to judiciary, tied to GEO and one other thing. But they didn't follow the due process. Now, if the people that can insert 3 trillion into budget that was never discussed, and you are asking them to implement laws for you, it's still brought down to the people, because every 4 years, when they give you 20,000, they give you 30,000, and you say you're right, and you come to here, and we are crying, food has increased. Food has not increased, so this is just the beginning. We are on this mandate, we all stand. Yes. We will ride with it together, and everybody will see it, and we will wear it, and we will soak with it. But the end product of it, this is where I blame Nigerians. We cannot continue to sit down and watch political class. It's a Nigeria problem. It's not a political class problem. Yes. We cannot continue to sit down and watch political class decide our future, decide even the future of our children that has not given birth yet. Until tomorrow, we keep rigmaroling on one thing. We are not moving forward. We are not going anywhere for almost a year now. What can you pinpoint in this administration that is tangible for 1 year? Upon all the trillions that has left subsidy and went to them, what can you say that we have enjoyed in this APC-led government for this 1 year? I want to see it. If I see it, I will be convinced. Yes, I could say, yes, that the past administration of President Buhari, yeah, he did. But if you go to Niger, second Niger bridge, you could tell, is it Buhari that did this one? Wow. Oh, he tried here. At least, can we just have something that we can also say? Oh, for this 1 year, oh, though things are high, prices are high, and that are high, but we now see power supply stable. Or we now see transportation. You cannot drive from your village to another village without having issue. You cannot see that the security issue has improved, no kidnapping and everything. The same senior president I quote him, we read it, it says security has improved. After 5 days, he said it, they kidnapped 200, over 200 in Kaduna. Now, I want to ask you, do you know what it takes to kidnap 200 persons? Which coastal bus can carry 200 persons? I want to ask. So these are things, as far as I'm concerned, the policy of this government right now is anti-people, is not working security-wise, is not working economically-wise, is not working transport-wise, is health-wise. What can we speak? So I think they need to sit down. They need to have a holistic understanding of where they are coming from and where they need to go. On that ground, we cannot rejoice as Nigeria that we are seeing something that resembles hope.
Thank you.
Not this hope that we are speaking about.
Let me quickly add that the president has said when he was reacting to the protests against his administration by the NLC, that his government is just about 7 months and that they should wait.
That is the hope. 4 years will complete. We will wait.
So,
it will
in other words, it's still government that is working. So probably there's light in, there'll be light at the end of the tunnel. Your closing remarks,
yes.
Barrister, quick one.
Yes. I will just say that the policies that have been put forward, they should be implemented in the best possible manner, so that we will see the dividends of democracy in the long run. And even in the time as it is now, instantaneously. Like I always say, we need things to be done instantaneously so that the Nigerians can believe that we have a government. And when by the Nigerians are not seeing the benefits of democracy and governance, then they will keep on complaining. So it is our right to complain when we are not satisfied with the happenings in the country. And this will continue to do till things are done in the appropriate manner. Thank you.
Reverend Geraki, quick one. Your conclusion.
Sir. So what I want to tell our leaders is that one, they should be sincere to themselves, be sincere to the Nigerians, and also they should rise up to their responsibility so that we'll have a better country.
Thank you very much. That's the program for this week. 60 Minutes Nigeria. We've looked at the economic policies of President Tinubu, and we also focused on the reopening of the border with Niger, and we looked at all other economic policies and the effect. What do we stand to gain from reopening of the border? We looked at economic activities, exchange of goods and services, and all of that. But my guest posited that there is need to man the porous borders in order to prevent import of small arms and all other illegal activities that could be detrimental to the economy of Nigeria. I want to thank Reverend Dr. Maxwell Osage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Our educationist in our midst. Reverend Benson Ogeraki.
Thank you, sir.
He's a school proprietor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And a legal practitioner in Edo State, Barrister Joshua Agbolagba. Thank you very much. My name is Erosa Agbonlao. Do have a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.